First of all, we already knew that US was going to be a target market for us, so we were prepared. And being prepared means that we tested different type of, for example, activities the year before the launch. We participated to an event just to test the feeling, like, is the value proposition resonating? Do we have operators interested in us, yes or no?
Welcome to Human First, the go-to-market hiring show. I'm your host, Danielle Parker. For most European B2B companies, the US expansion is the moment everything gets harder. The market is bigger, the competition is more intense, and the hiring playbook that worked at home stops working almost immediately. Our guest today is in the middle of exactly that challenge right now and is building a marketing and growth team that has to perform in two very different markets at the same time at a Series B pace. Giulia Gagliardi is VP of Marketing and Growth at Nory, an AI-native restaurant management platform that has just raised $37 million to expand into the US and accelerate product development. Giulia, welcome. So this is so exciting. So you joined Nory as VP of Marketing and Growth, or just VP of Marketing? And you now have partnerships and the BDR team, which I definitely want to get into, like, as a marketer, because I think that that's really cool. And that happens when something's working, like you're not expanding into the US if you're still trying to find traction here in Europe. But it also comes with like a significant hiring challenge. So what did the team look like when you joined, and how has that changed, since then?
I think, first of all, I'm really happy to discuss this topic. I had a lot of conversation with my founder and CEO, Connor, on like, what is the most important things to succeed when you have the product market fit, when you have a product that is solving a need that is real, the people that you're hiring, the people that you're retaining, and the people strategy. So I think this is a huge component of like scaling successfully a company. I joined originally as VP of Marketing, and the main task for me was to build the inbound engine for us. In the moment, inbound counted for less than like 5% to our revenue, and we arrived at like plus 50% in 14 months. At the time, the team was built by two people. One person was mainly focused on growth and everything else, a bit of everything.
Yeah,
and
classic for marketing.
And another person more into like brand and content. And I'm proud to say that they're still working with me after 2 years now.
Wow.
So
that's a long term for a content person.
Yeah, and also I think joining a company in pre-seed and moving from pre-seed to Series B, you need to grow a lot as a professional. You need also to accept and compromise a bit, because certain type of things are going to be done by different people that you're hiring. And so I'm proud to say that they're still working with me, both of them, even with a new marketing team structure, and we can enter more into this. After 1 year in Nory, there was a change on our sales leadership, and I think that we had a discussion on what makes sense for us. And this happened like almost a year ago. And for us, it was, at the time, the most important thing was to have a sales team that was able to manage a deal and convert and increase the velocity of the deal cycle, and having a team that was fully responsible for demand generation. That's why we decided to have partnership and also the BDR function within this growth team that now I'm leading as VP of Marketing and Growth. At the time, it made sense. We have a lot of learnings that I can share. I think the most important thing for me was I want a team that is going in the same direction, and the direction is pipeline generation and revenue, and everyone is contributing to the same goal and KPIs. So marketing, inbound KPIs, partnership KPIs, BDR, outbound KPIs. But at the end, one thing, it's pipeline generation. Also with the same attribution, methodology, and rules of the game, so that the team can work in a very cross-functional way. And I think it was and is a decent way of like how building a demand generation team.
Yeah, I think something you said that's really interesting is people strategy, which like a job description and a hiring plan is not necessarily like a people strategy and like building your team. So I'd love to just hear a little bit more about how you thought about it when you came in, and realize these needs and we're like, okay, we have this content person, but maybe we need like this person? And
I think that first of all, and my founder did this in Nory, and I suggest to every single founder that is hiring for a senior person in marketing or growth to do the same, and is go through a business case together. And one of the questions of this business case should always be how you will build the team. Because the way in which someone is explaining to you how he or she is going to build the team in the future is giving to you the feeling of, okay, this person knows where they want to go, right?
yes.
And for me, it's like I have my playbook for a marketing team and also for other type of themes that is always considering in marketing at least three main, let me say, department or vertical. One is what I can call growth, meaning performance marketing and CRM.
Yep.
So the life cycle, acquisition and retention.
Yeah.
This can apply to B2C, B2B, of course, with a sort of like
nuances in there,
calibration, of course. And you have the brand function, content, copy, social media, PR, and you have product marketing, everything related to product marketing. These for me are the three areas. Within product marketing, there is also, for example, the website management sometimes. SEO can go in growth on product marketing depending on how you would like to, move with the hiring. And this is all my playbook. Something that I recognize is that when you're moving from like Series A to Series C, I've done already this test that worked really well, and is to have, as a leader, someone who is able to lead product marketing and brand together. And I think that especially for B2B SaaS companies, this is really important because you can have the voice of the product in your brand and the voice of the brand in your product.
Yeah.
And I found this very effective. So I did this in Nory, and I'm really happy.
As I come from a content marketing background, and that is like music to my ears because they're so intertwined. I think like you need to learn from the product marketing team to influence the brand and vice versa.
Yeah, in this moment I have Nory, yes, I don't have, seems that people are, no. I have a talented and senior product marketing and brand lead. And I have also two people that are working with him. One is more focused on content and social media and PR events. The other is more focused on like go-to-market product marketing, but they are working as a team.
Yeah.
So first of all, they're interacting, they're working on the same project. And I think that being a lead, able to manage both the word product marketing and brand is giving us a velocity that we didn't have before.
Yeah. Something else that's interesting about your team, and I think I'm going to get more into this in a later question on the BDRs sit under you, and just as in terms of like sales leadership, and we see this all the time. You know, those earlier stage companies coming in, they want to hire the super senior sales leadership, or they want to hire a generalist when they really need a specialist, or vice versa. But based on what you've seen at Nory and the past companies that you've done this successfully in, like what do you think the right sequence of hires is at that stage?
This is a $1 million question. Yeah. First of all, I'm someone that I don't like, for example, that, when someone is publishing those amazing LinkedIn posts with, this is the secret of everything and you will solve everything. No.
This is the one way you can do this.
Yeah. There is no one way. Every company has different peculiarities, different momentum, different sectors. So for me, there is not one rule that fits all, but there are some principles.
Yeah.
And for me, when you're looking at seniority, it can be sales team, marketing team, but probably also the product team. There are different considerations that you need to take. From a pure marketing standpoint, my suggestion when I'm also doing advisory for other startups is pre-seed and seed have one generalist that can build the base of your marketing strategy. But as soon as you feel that you want to move in, I need someone for brand, for content, as soon as you are thinking to verticalize, as a founder, you cannot manage that.
Yeah.
Because the risk is that you are over-hiring or hiring people that are not in fit. So then there it's when you need to hire someone that is slightly more senior. Now, the level of seniority depends.
Yeah.
Depends on the trajectory of your company, depends on the maturity, the velocity. So can be an head off, can be a VP, can be a C-suite, but needs to be calibrated in the context.
Yeah.
And from a sales team perspective, I think it's more or less the same. When you're a founder, I think that a huge part of your time, pre-seed, seed, even Series A, is actually selling your product.
Yes.
So at the end, you are the best person in the room to also know when to hire someone that can help you. Not defocusing, but also dedicating time of other things that are important in the company, product development, for example.
Yeah.
So I think that also with sales, the right time, it's when you think that you need more than, 3, 4 account executive people. And instead of having them working with no playbooks, no rules of the game, no rigor, no CRM hygiene, because you don't have time, it's when you need to have someone that is leading them. And on sales, I have seen that you need the seniority to make things happen. We have now hired a VP of sales. I'm working, I think, with him every day, and I'm really happy because I'm seeing this constant change. We have an important seniority within the sales team, VP of sales, head of sales, and also our account executive team in terms of maturity and know-how on the sector. They're really good. So I think that we have built and we are building a really strong sales team.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. You have the VP of sales, but the BDR team still sits under marketing, which I love. It's still relatively unusual, though, within B2B to have like the top of funnel generation and then the outbound motion, which you said was kind of the big piece when you came in. So why does that work for Nory, and how does it change as maybe you're hiring the VP of sales and like evaluating how the functions work together?
So again, first of all, there are stages of the company. So at the stage in which we were, and probably we are today, it was making sense for us to make this move. I don't like too much of thinking about, for example, marketing and partnership at top of the funnel and the BDR motion at, mid of the funnel. If you think about everything that is from brand awareness on going down into the funnel, what's the main goal? It's pipeline generation. It's meeting booked for the sales team. The meeting booked can arrive inbound, can arrive through a partner, and can arrive through outbound motion. Yeah. So the reality is that they're going after the same goal. Now, I think that when you are maturing more and also you have your sales team that is outbounding and generating their own pipeline, you need to create consistency. So there is going to be a moment in which potentially the BDR function needs to sit under the sales team. I think that our test was really interesting for at least two things. First of all, having more maturity also within the marketing and the partnership team on pipeline generation and responsibility of okay, this is the impact that we can have every month from a revenue contribution standpoint. And the second is when you are building your brand and you're building your positioning, you're constantly changing your messaging. The value proposition remains the same, you know that.
Yeah.
The messaging changes. And if you have this constant collaboration in between the BDR function that is outbounding and, for example, the marketing one, your learning path, it's super fast. I can give you an example. We were testing an angle of a campaign in paid, a meta ads, and we recognized that was the most effective one. So what we did, we took the same concept, the same messaging, and we asked the BDR of testing this messaging more, and was working more the other angles.
Yeah.
And so this kind of sync, I think that is important to have. But when the team is more mature and when you have more template, when your messaging is more solid, your value proposition is more solid, I think that the BDR can sit under sales. Outbound can become one important channel. You have a strong collaboration in between the account executive people, the BDR people, and you can move forward. So I think that it can be phased and depends on the context and also on the seniority that you have within the teams.
My favorite answer in marketing, it depends. So this is exciting. Nory just raised $37 million. U.S. expansion is one of the primary goals of that use, or the stated use of capital. You're actively building the GTM team for the U.S. market. I guess what is the first kind of question that needs to be answered when starting that journey as a company building your go-to-market team or commercial team in the US, expanding from Europe or another region?
First of all, we already knew that US was going to be a target market for us, so we were prepared. And being prepared means that we tested different type of, for example, activities the year before the launch. We participated to an event just to test the feeling, like, is the value proposition resonating? Do we have operators interested in us, yes or no?
Yeah.
And also, because you love marketing, we tested a bit of like performance marketing to understand the level of like inbound leads that we could have potentially generated. And we saw the interest, so we decided to speed up. And in terms of the first hiring, for me, it's especially in the B2B SaaS world is, do we have demand or not? Do I have to build the demand and after hire the sales team? Or it's easy to build the demand and I can build the demand from my HQ, so from my domestic market, and I can work a bit with a bridge. If the answer is yes, as in our case, the first people are going to be salespeople because you need to convert the demand.
Yeah.
And I think you have the phase one, it's that you need to hire salespeople in local. You also need to have SLT, C-suite people that are going to spend a bit of time in US. We have our founder, the chief of staff of our founder, it's based in New York. So we started to hire like the sales team, generating the demand from abroad. And I think for us, it was successful. Now that we are growing, of course, they need more like supervision and leadership, but you can bridge the leadership and the supervision. The main thing for me, it's you need to build the culture. So you're hiring like salespeople, customer success people.
Yeah.
Now we also have hired like a marketing manager there because we are evolving, right? So we are building the local business unit. But I think something that we are doing successfully is considering what is like an HQ scope and what is a local scope.
Yeah.
Trying to have as much efficiency as we can from a way of working, but also a cultural standpoint. Because the risk is that you are creating a subculture, and if you're creating a subculture at Series B, it's not going to be good. And I don't know if my people team will love this, but my founder is still doing, we are 100 people now in the company, is still doing for every single hire the last interview.
I think it's important. I think it is, especially like not only for the culture, but for the candidates too. Like you want to be excited about it and feel really wanted. And I think for the experience, it's a good thing.
And especially in US, if you're considering that you're a new company, you're not American company, you need to fight for talents. And the excitement around how successful this startup can be, it's a huge component of someone that is joining or not joining the company.
Yeah, especially for where Nory sits, because there is really intense competition. There's like embedded, legacy providers, and they have very deep pockets. And that leads me into my next question. Like, how does that GTM hire look? Like, when you have, when you're entering this market where there's a lot of brand recognition with the incumbent, and you guys are kind of the newer entrants into the market. So how do you hire for that?
I think that being new in a market, it's not a barrier. It's of course a challenge, but it depends the type of people you would like to have in your company. And the reality is that you need to hire builders. Doesn't matter the job title, doesn't matter the department. You need to have builders and people that are smart enough to consider this opportunity a one lifetime opportunity. So I think that why someone is deciding to join at this stage in a startup or scale up is for two things. First of all, they see the market potential. Yeah. They see how big is the market, and they see that there is space to grow, and they are really in love with the product and the vision of what you're building. Yeah. These two factors are like what is exciting the people to work with us. So I don't feel too much the competition versus the incumbent when hiring. I feel the excitement, but you need always to calibrate like experience, know-how, with excitement with someone that would really, it's like into scaling and building. Things needs to be combined a bit, but I don't feel the I don't think that we feel the pressure of like, okay, there are incumbents. No, it's more something for us interesting because those incumbents that have innovated in a sort of way in the past, educated a bit the market. But what we are going to do and what we're doing is really different.
Yeah.
So there is also an interest in learning and working in companies that are like AI native, because this can massively have an impact on like your career trajectory, the way of thinking, the way of working, how much you can learn about AI that is not just this buzzword that is everywhere, right? You can see the impact.
Yeah.
This is how I think we offset the risk of like not having stellar brand awareness in US because we launched it in late last year.
And we were talking about this a little bit before we recorded, which was really interesting about kind of those profiles of like who has the industry experience, has maybe, you know, done it a little bit before versus the maybe someone more junior doesn't have that industry experience but is like really hungry for this opportunity. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you think of kind of balancing out the team with those profiles, like what you're looking for, and how you approach that.
I think, and this is valid across the teams, we are a company that has been built from an operator for operators.
Yeah.
And we want to maintain this aspect in everything that we're doing. Culture, like values, it's the core of what we're doing and what we're doing it, no? But while building a team, it's impossible to have just people that are coming from a specific sector. So you need to expand. Expanding means that you need to mix. For me, it's like building, I don't know, now you have the World Cup in US, right? It's like building the perfect like football team. You need to have expert players. You need to have young players that you want to train, but they are talented. And you need to have this mix of like also talent. You cannot work just with a stellar team, hyper talented. Not everyone is going to have the same level of talent or raw talent. You need to have a mix. Our specific case is that the restaurant sector is a particular one, and we always want to bring on the table the impact that we can have, the positive impact that we can have for operators. So having people that are able to connect the dots in between the product development and the impact that our product can have on the daily life of someone that is running a restaurant is important. And people that have experience in the sector, of course, can connect those dots easily. Yeah. But in the same way, you need to mix these with also different type of backgrounds.
Yeah. So obviously, like, you found something that works. This is super exciting for Nory. Like, you're tripling revenues. You've doubled the team since the Series A. And that piece also we find creates this specific kind of hiring pressure. Like, you're writing, especially in the age of AI, right? Like, things are changing so fast, and you're finding yourself maybe writing job descriptions for roles that like didn't exist 6 months ago. And the market, we find this a lot too. Like, the market doesn't really have an existing like candidate pool with that title where you can go and pull and filter. It's more of a set of like skills. And how have you found finding that talent and hiring for those skills?
This is a really interesting question.
Yeah.
Why? Because I think that when you're looking at your like internal organization, in our case, it's slightly easier because we are EA native and our engineering team is really strong.
Yeah.
And like not just building AI, but also implementing AI. But of course, you need a sort of like EA enablement person or team, and you can build this in a different way. Yeah. And I think companies are still figuring out what this is. Job title, job description, the background, is an engineer, is a product person, is an ops person. So there is a lot of noise. For me, the most important thing is not the job description at this stage, but every single person that we are hiring needs to answer 2-3 questions that are, how do you see this process? And it's possible to automate this process or not? How you will implement AI to make your daily job more efficient? What do you think about testing that you would like to run within your department and team? So I think that you need to have expertise in terms of like these EA enablement people that are maybe more technical and more engineer,
Yeah.
but also any single person that we are hiring now, they need to be interested in AI. They need to be interested not because it's something fancy, but because it's something that can really help how they're working.
Yeah.
And I think especially if I'm considering the BDR, there are a lot of discussion. Oh, now we will have just AI BDR. I don't think we are there yet. Maybe other people will have different buzzwords. For me, we are not there yet. But the work of a BDR 10 years ago, it's completely different from the work of a BDR nowadays in terms of like how to manage outbounding, the tech stack, the tooling, how to manage
the targeting, everything,
the enrichment of the data. So it's important that someone that is entering now in a BDR role have an understanding of all these topics and the willingness of like constantly learning, because every day there is something new. So you need to be on top of it.
That's really interesting that actually something that you're like assessing during the hiring process. And how do you think about that in marketing roles? Like, how are you looking at different like types of AI fluency when you're thinking of who to hire, or what roles to hire, how much one person can do, and where you want to prioritize those resources?
I think that of course you have a lot of efficiencies, and these efficiencies are coming from, for me, not having one person that is no more doing his job because AI is doing his or her job, but it's more how this person can be equipped to increase the productivity. So one person today has a different level of productivity than 1 year ago, and in 1 year is going to have another level of productivity. And also in marketing, the understanding of how I'm going to manage my day and all my daily tasks, which task can be automated, which task can be superpowered. This is important. There is also another aspect for me as a leader, is that it's still our duty to equip especially junior people on how to use AI, but still maintain their brain power.
Yeah.
And a content can be written by AI with the correct level of like information, but I really want even a junior marketing person to review the content, to learn, to improve.
Yeah.
And I think this is where I stand. But of course, it's a new world, and productivity-wise, the impact is massive. I can see it in my team even today.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's definitely something we've been talking about a lot internally in terms of like, who are these new hires? How are they using AI? How are we assessing it? And not just that, but like, what are the actual outcomes they're able to drive? Because I feel like there is still a lot of noise around, oh, well, I made all of these blog posts, I made 30. And it's like, as you said, you still need that brain power.
What's the quality?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, if you just made 30, like, so I think it's interesting too, an interesting time for you guys that you are a genuinely AI native product versus a legacy product that is now just kind of trying to tack on AI or figure out how to, rebuild with AI. And how different is that internal culture and the team that you're building versus maybe a company? So like taking Nory as an AI company versus a company that is doing that process, trying to retroactively become AI. Layering on top. Like, how is the team building and profiles different there?
I think you need to have a different level of talent density, especially if you're thinking about the engineering team. And also you need to have people that are feeling really connected with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're believing that what they're doing can be a massive like change compared to other type of companies that have, huge, I can call it technical debt, but let's not call it like this. A tech stack that is not AI native, and they need to build on top of their, for example, platforms. They need to layer AI and make it work and automate probably certain type of workflows. And this is entirely different from having a product that is AI native and built on AI. So I think the talent density is important, but also it's easier to attract talents because you can be at the core of the development of something that is AI native instead of just trying to figure it out how to improve the existing product. And I think especially for engineers is a huge difference.
And it's exciting too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want those hungry, excited people.
It is.
So you've hired across now multiple markets, multiple functions. I want to hear a little bit more about your process. Like, what questions do you ask to determine whether someone is like, you're like, ooh, this person like knows go to market, like they know their role.
Now I'm going to give a spoiler.
Yeah.
So for all the people that I'm going to interview, they are
Yeah.
going to
Now
know
they're gonna know.
my special question. They're gonna know. No, I think that I have.
They'll be doing their research if they find this though.
Okay. I will share with you the feedback. Yeah. Everyone was so ready of my.
Yeah.
No, I think, I mean, you were asking me more on like go-to-market technical questions. I think there are technical questions depending on the role, so we'll not enter too much into this. But there are two questions that I'm always asking.
Yeah.
And I'm always asking these two questions. I don't know, interview a intern person or a C-suite person. Always those two questions.
Yeah.
The first question is, what is your biggest failure? And if you can describe to me, what did you learn from this failure? And this question, it's making you realize, first of all, if they are able to discuss about something that they have done. And if you are in go-to-market, should be something that is like a technical project or, running a project from A to Z. The way in which they are describing the failure is making me realize if they know their stuff or not, if they have done it or just seen it.
Yeah.
It is really different. Because failures are part of the process. If you're doing, sometimes you can fail, but you need to learn.
Yeah.
So this is the first question. And the second one is like, what is your biggest career success? And describe to me a project or a campaign or something that you have done that you consider a success. And there, for example, I love when the answer it's not just qualitative, but also quantitative, and there are some metrics connected. Like, this was my best project. Why? Because this was the outcome. So I have these two secret questions. Now there are no more secrets. So.
Well, I think if someone is reading this, listening to this, then they'll be well prepared. And they've done their research, right?
But it's a question that you cannot prepare.
No,
that's why.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it.
It's a good one.
That's a good one. We might have to steal that. Speaking of successes and failures, and you've had a really impressive career at Ferrero, Free Now, which I was like, when I was looking at the research, I was just like, oh, I've used that in Ireland. Cassavo and now Nory. Was there a hire that you made or someone on your team that probably didn't look like on paper like, oh, this is the person, but actually really worked out? And did it teach you anything about hiring, looking at people?
Of course. I think that I always followed one principle, that is, you think first about the organizational design strategy. And once you have your perfect of your like dreamy organizational design asset for your team, you're filling the role. And based on what you have on paper, you don't have to think about the people that you have in the team, but you need to think about the organizational design first. And I went with this principle for a lot. Recently, last year in Nory, I saw a talent, and for me, this person was going to have a massive impact, but I didn't have the role in mind. Kind of what I think it's the perfect organizational design. And I compromised. So I decided to create a role for this person, and this person is having a major impact. So has proven me wrong on thinking that you always need to think about first the organizational design. There can be exception, especially at this stage. Of course, when you are more mature, no. You need to follow more the principle. But I created a role for this person that it's not... Everyone that is like, I think, working in people teams are going to say, but for me it worked. So it was a learning that sometimes talent and opportunity and momentum can beat what you have on paper in terms of organizational design framework. Yeah,
and sometimes that's the right trade-off to make. If you like really believe in this person. And
it worked for us.
Yeah, which is great. I think, so last question I'm going to get into. What is the thing most founders do not understand about your role as VP of marketing or marketing leadership, just making a hire that they really should?
A couple of things. The first one is the evolution of what is considered marketing, especially in B2B SaaS. Marketing is growth. And you don't have to consider marketing as a support function, but a revenue center. And this is how you need to look at that team. And for me, this is impacting also the relationship that a VP of marketing, a CMO is going to have with the CEO. So it's a generational shift.
Yeah.
And the second one is brand is the most discussed topic. What is the ROI of this campaign? What is the ROI of this campaign? Is it going to work or not? And I think what makes a huge difference is when a founder or a CEO really understand brand dynamics or is willing to learn. And if you have this candid relationship of how to use brand as a weapon to generate revenues in the long term, this is when the relationship is successful.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that too. Do you have any tips for either like educating a founder around that or helping them realize, that brand can be that weapon?
Yeah, I think that sometimes senior marketers tends to be on the defensive side because it's really hard to explain certain type of dynamics. I think more than for other type of themes.
Yeah.
And you need to be patient and you need to speak the language of the people that is listening to you. Can be a CFO, can be a CEO. If you're speaking with a CFO, you need to calibrate your messaging, your tone of voice. But educating the entire company and being sure that your department has enough visibility within the company is making the difference on the impact that you're going to have as a leader, but also the impact of your team.
Yeah, that was great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today live in London. This is such a great episode. I can't wait to get it out.
Thanks a lot for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, it was so fun. And look for Nory at a restaurant near you in the US, I guess. Yeah.
Of course.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Giulia.
Thank you.
Yeah.